So 3 o'clock Central European time, the Revenue Forum is about to start. Thank you all for joining us. I'll start with a little bit of a background on Revenue Forum, after which we are going to introduce our speakers and then we're going to start. So Revenue Forum is a non-profit initiative started by me in 2008. We currently organize monthly webinars every first Thursday of the month. These started recently in the wake of COVID-19. Half-day seminars, we do this in 10 cities in 8 countries, and we long to get started again. And whole day events. The first one being held on the 18th of May this year. This will be a unique event held simultaneously in Stockholm, Milan, London, and online. More information on that at the end of this webinar. The topic of this Revenue Forum episode is how to increase performance of your technology stack, and we have invited an expert panel to talk about the subject. Our experts consist of 5 expert speakers who will each get 5 minutes to talk. We will use a Pachacucha format. This means that the presentation slides automatically change after 20 seconds. Furthermore, we will be joined by a special guest, and this time we invited Nina Kalian from Elite Hotels to give her insights. We will interview her after our expert panels is finished and with her Pachacuchas. Participants to this webinar are a broad mix of listeners from all over the world where different types of restrictions are applied. And there are many hotels ranging from 2 to 5 stars, independent and branded. We will try to make this coming hour as inspirational for all of you. Before we present our speakers, some logistics regarding questions and answers. Please feel free to ask us any questions you might have. We will use these during the discussion forum at the end of this webinar. You will find the Q&A at the bottom of your screen. Please ask your question to all panelists. If you have a question you would like to ask to a specific speaker, please state his or her name. This session is recorded and we will send you the link as soon as possible after the event. Now let's introduce our speakers of today. And let's start by me. My name is Annemarie Kubanski, and I'm apart from a founder of Taktikon, the organizer of the Revenue Forums. Today, I will be the moderator of this webinar. Maybe let's see who this first speaker is going to be. Steve, would you like to introduce yourself?
Thank you for having us, Annemarie. Good afternoon, or perhaps even good morning to some of you. To start off with, I will, if we can go ahead with my presentation. My introduction is part of it, so that would be great. Thank you.
Thank you for that, Steve. Maybe Jos would like to present himself.
Yes, my name is Jos Schaap. I am CEO and co-founder at ROOMDEX. Prior to ROOMDEX, I was CEO and co-founder of Stay in Touch, which I sold to CG in 2018. Prior to that, I worked for Micros for about 18 years, responsible for all Opera development globally. Thank you.
Yes, hello everyone. My name is Stephan from HQ Revenue. I'm a part of the HQ Revenue team. I'm working for the business developing and bringing actually the HQ Revenue all over the world. And I'm really looking forward for this webinar and seeing how we can actually help you to find the right tech stack.
Hello everybody, my name is Oliver. I work together with Annemarie and Katarina at Taktikon. Within Taktikon, we have several business entities, and I'm in charge of mostly handling the technical issues our hotels and customers have, meaning buying software and making sure that it fits into their environments.
And welcome from snowy Estonia. My name is Annika and I'm the co-founder of Guestjoy. Prior to that, I actually stayed home raising kids for some time, but before that, for 10 years, I was working as a hotel manager. So I've been in the business for a while already. Thank you.
And then we have our special guest, Nina. Who are you?
Hi, I'm Nina. I work as a system and distribution manager for a Swedish hotel chain, Elite Hotels of Sweden. We're a privately owned hotel chain, third largest in Sweden. We have 38 hotels going on 40, and 40 pubs in a chain called the Bishop's Arms. I started working in the hotel industry in 1991. And since then I've been through most departments of operations and so on in hotel business. The last 8 years I've been working at Elite Hotels. Before that I worked pretty long as a revenue manager for both independent hotels and chains like Scandic and Best Western. So yeah, in my position at Elite Hotels, I'm managing the external distribution for our hotels, such as channel management, DDS distribution, and OTA setups. And I'm part of our IT team and of our project group.
Thank you for that, Nina. I'm looking forward to the interview that we're going to have. Maybe let's go to our first speaker then. Steve, go ahead.
Thanks. I found myself part of the hospitality industry in the mid-90s. And to start off with, I would like to briefly leave you with a lighthearted take on the life of a hotelier, based on that experience partly. But this is a text from a London hotelier. It hasn't quite worked out, but I'm sure you can read it just to give you a quick impression of, it's meant to be a lighthearted impression of how people running hotels tend to feel. So today I am the commercial director at Clock PMS Plus. The logo didn't quite work out there, but we have it at the bottom. I am indeed a former hotelier. I was involved with running boutique properties mostly. I'm also the founder at Hotelevate and a firm believer in progress through modern technology. In all fairness, implementing technological changes used to be outright hard and often very unrewarding. Things were hardware heavy, things were costly, and they had a high learning curve. Also, none of them were intended for input by guests. The device on the right there, by the way, was much more powerful than the old one on the left. In the mid-90s, people started to relieve the mountains of paperwork using a Windows PMS. Then, for the 2 decades that followed, many businesses became very intertwined with these systems of choice, and operations were often limited by what the system could do. So today, this leaves many hotels running solutions that frankly no longer deserve to be called those solutions. This quick rise of technology and the resulting changes in society mean that there is both cause and opportunity to do much better. So where has all this new opportunity arisen from? What is enabling this new age of hospitality technology? How has it changed things for early adopters and now for the early majority of hotels who have started to modernize their technology? To me, as a hotelier, this became extremely clear when staff started to manage their social lives very, very efficiently using a 200 euro handheld device, a phone, and free social media applications, while they were expected to use a disconnected steam engine, so to speak, that couldn't talk to guests or let them do their jobs in a modern way. So today, the question is, how can hotels elevate their technology to properly serve today's needs? I believe they could start with their office software even, and bring that properly online for much improved collaboration. I'd like to also offer a few important considerations when it comes to the industry-specific technology, the hotel software. When platforms moved online, things changed for the better. Just like with Netflix, just like with Spotify, commitment is often greatly reduced. Nobody is making money on the side by telling you what hardware you need. And you also submit feedback on the quality of service they offer, just like your guests do on TripAdvisor. When consumers spend 30 euros on buying a toaster online, the platform allows them to manage their purchase in many, many different ways, selecting a delivery date, downloading an invoice, chatting with someone. but when they spend 10 times as much on booking a hotel room, all too often, people get access to nothing of the sort. So when you put together the tools that best suit your business, don't assume this now needs to be a huge house of cards. There are highly capable specialist solutions out there that add very valuable private rooms to this house, while others will let you first put down a strong foundation with all common areas already included of the house. So with this very real need for specialists on one hand, there is a clear weakness that comes when this technology stack becomes oversized, which can be different for every organization. When it happens, your business becomes dependent on too many constant synchronizations, help desks, diverging commercial interests of these vendors, and so on. To sum up, any organization that hasn't yet can remove a great deal of friction and reduce the need for human handling of menial, repetitive tasks when adopting the latest and greatest technology. It may require a different mindset, and it will definitely, in all circumstances, I believe, be rewarded at the bottom line. Thank you all so much for listening, and I'll very happily hand over to my fellow countryman, Jos. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that. Yes, indeed, we are going to go to the second speaker of today. We're going to Jos Schaap from ROOMDEX. Well, Jos, very curious about what you're going to have to say.
Thank you, Anne-Marie. So I think I'm going to proceed a little bit the way in the line of Steve. I have a slightly different approach to that. I think maybe some of it will be slightly more shocking, or not shocking, but maybe enlightening as well. But I think it's a good addition to what Steve started. So we're going to ask Siri, basically, should we upgrade, replace, or retrofit the PMS, which is the core technology stack of the hotel. So you've changed, we all have. The digital life has altered our expectations of every experience and interaction. We all need to think differently. Do we need to rethink our technology stack or not? Should hotels do so? The world has changed. While there are many factors of change, there are three very specific and important factors that really have set off. The trend where technology has become one of the enablers is getting everywhere. Steve mentioned that already. Things are becoming much easier. Things are lighter. Everybody has a phone. All these kinds of things really are coming into play. So the three hallmarks of change that set the digital trends in motion are the explosion of self-service online shopping. You can do anything online. You never call anyone anymore, from buying books to buying groceries to booking your hotel room to booking a flight. All it takes is a few clicks in the comfort of your home, and you can do whatever you want to do basically from that spot. The second hallmark is probably very obvious to all of us. This is a very clear picture to me. When you walk outside on the street or wherever you are, everybody has their phone. The phone has become the windows to the world. It's the most important device that we have today. Sometimes we love it, sometimes we hate it, but it's really key. And just as online, we now want to do everything on our phone, from making pictures to buying food to ordering Uber or Lyft or check into the hotel from our phone. The third hallmark, the expectation of self-service has changed. It's kind of in line with the first two, but it's really important to understand that lots of people today want to do things themselves. They don't want to necessarily wait for somebody to check you in. So the winners of those trends have responded well. Netflix making online convenience very easy. Apple making sure everyone has access to a phone, enabling lots of services on that phone. And Uber putting transportation and food at your fingertips. The losers have not. Blockbuster, for example, used to be everywhere, but did not adjust to the online video downloads. BlackBerry once was everywhere, but forgot to turn the phone into just more than email and a calling device. Taxis are struggling and fighting a tough battle against Uber and other rideshare companies. Hospitality is changing too. New guest behavior, new solutions, new technologies, new staff needs and behavior really make a difference. Things such as mobile check-in, digital guest journey, in-room voice recognition, contactless interaction, access to the hotel systems anywhere, intelligent systems that automate part of the hotel operation, automated revenue management, automated upgrade management, guest management solutions, contract tracing solutions, and many more technologies and service trends that make a very big difference to 10, 20 years ago, and should require you to look at the technology stack that you have in place. So getting back to asking Siri, should I retrofit, upgrade, or replace my old Windows MS-DOS premises installed PMS? Considering the PMS is the core of your hotel technology, let's see if we can answer that question. To remain with the hallmarks of change and provide good service, you need to at least do something. Probably a very clear picture to you, all of this. This is a very old BMW, and I don't think BMW is going to be able to put Apple CarPlay in their 1970s BMW. At the same point, connecting a mobile upgrade solution to Fidelio PMS, a solution from the 90s, early 2000s, or 90s, 80s, and 90s, is not going to work. If your system is old, you will be out of luck if you want to provide new services, guaranteed. But it's time to adjust. Staying current. Many owners don't want to change to new PMSs, as they simply look at costs only. Many hotels don't pay high maintenance fees or have written off the PMS already. So it just runs for free, but really does it? Most of the legacy PMSs, as you just saw, become very old and very costly. If you want to switch to cloud, you have to new world opening for you. Upgrading and converting is a breeze and very affordable. To Steve's point, you no longer need an army of installers. A good cloud PMS, such as Stay in Touch, Clock, Protel, Apaleo, Muse, and Opera Cloud, they all have very interesting opportunities around integration. They offer it mostly for free. It slightly depends per provider, but the new cloud solutions really will help you, enable you to innovate, because connecting is becoming a lot easier. So with that said, if you want to add your hotel as a winner, as you can see here, it's very important that you use technology to service the new guest demands. The new technologies that reduce cost, increase revenue, and improve efficiencies are available now. So all you need to do is grab them. So Siri and I say yes to getting new cloud PMS as the base of your hotel technology stack. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that, Jos. All the way from the States, you gave us your wise words. Let's go to Germany. Maybe Stephan, are you ready for your presentation?
Yes. Hello from Hamburg. I'm ready. Looking forward.
Thank you.
So we're actually looking into the difference between Coca-Cola or Pepsi. So two drinks which are pretty much tasting the same. And that's where we're stuck in front of the big shelf in the supermarket between fuck it or what if, which of them we are going to take in, or is there actually more than Pepsi or Coke in the world? So let's have a look into it. Thank you, Anne-Marie. Okay, Pepsi or Coke. Did you actually know that there is more about like 100 different kinds of brands about Coca-Cola or Coke tastes on Wikipedia? Or did you know that even Coke has 7 different undercategories when it comes to Coca-Cola taste? Or did you know that Donald Trump had a button on his desk to just get a Coke delivery, just a special thing? This is something what we're actually hearing very much when it comes to technology, especially in our technology stack in hospitality. So we have so many different outlets in our hotel, which have over 70 different subcategories when it comes to technology. So it's way too much, and it's so difficult for us to find technology. But why do we actually change? So why do we have to replace things? Because there's evolution, there's new things. We get new employees who get new ideas, and most important, we have new competitors joining in our world, and we want to be better. We want to be ahead. So what is it like? What do we want to do actually? So do we actually want to leave it like it is? So just fuck it. So that'll work. So it always worked. Never change the running system. Or what if? So what if we actually look into a new solution? What if it moves us actually forward and we can create cash, or it supplies us time, solves problems, or makes us even more special like we were before? So let's have a look. So inform yourself, but don't think about the pink elephant. That's the most important part. So price tag is not everything. Marketing tag can be really, really a bitch. So new solutions are very, very much in place, but make your roadmap what you actually want to achieve with this. So don't let yourself fade it by very, very smarty marketing tricks. So it's a challenging topic, so don't get stuck. So do I really need all of that technology? Which of them covers me the most for me? Isn't that too much for me? If you have no idea where to start, ask the professionals, ask the consultants like Anna-Marie, get them an audit. It's a very, very helpful thing. So small business owners especially sometimes get overwhelmed. When you start moving, actually look at your habits. So are you willing to start through with a startup, or are you a traditional person? Can you involve your team to improve wasted time, for example? But don't get the fear. Fear actually prevents success. So you really, really have to take care of this. So have a look. Whatever you are looking into or planning to buy, you have to understand what you are buying. So what is the difference between server or cloud, API, interface, automatic or manual? Do I have to set it myself up? What is an AI? What is machine learning? You really, really have to inform yourself. That's very, very much important. Don't buy blind. Let's actually have a look into AI. Did you know that AI is actually not smarter than a 6-year-old child? So when it comes to buying technology, should you actually buy a 6-year-old child who's working for you? Take a break. I say clearly yes. Why? Because the AI does this 6-year-old child work 24/7, where our human being actually stops working. So that's what it's about. It's speed. So speed and setup, speed and education and what you are buying, speed in the system, but actually endurance. And that's what we live. For example, in HQ Revenue, we are living endurance to focus the future. We want to see, okay, speed is the future. We have to have the same speed like our future. So what will the future look like? So that's what you have to ask yourself. Ask your business, how's my business going to look like? But how's also the business going to look like in the future of your provider? Does it bring new options for you in your business? Is your provider actually developing with the future, or are they still behind? Are they developing old solutions? So get your mise en place in place when you're buying in technology and you decided, you make your decision, so it delivers systematically new parts for your hospitality solutions, that it grows with you, that you are able to grow with the system itself. That's very, very important when it comes to choosing the right technology stack. So all the different kind of things said, there is many, many different kind of solutions. The all-in-one solution is always a part, sometimes definitely a good option, but all-in-one is not fitting to everyone. So watch out. So if you see an all-in-one solution, is it actually fitting to you, or are the glasses way too big? So look into a scalable solution. Whatever you are working with, it's the most important 4 points. So it's your hotel, it's your team, it's your market, and in the end, it's your revenue, what you are buying for. So a really, really good technology solution should increase your productivity. It should help you stay organized, stay connected if it's with your guest, being one step ahead actually in front of your competition. And that's it. And that's what I'm doing also at HQ Revenue. Thank you very much. Was really, really much fun. And I'm giving over to our next speaker.
Thank you so much, Stephan. That was really good. Well, our next speaker is our very own colleague, Oliver Geldner. Oliver, are you ready?
I am ready, and if you haven't heard enough about fast-speaking Germans today, then here's another one. I'm actually sitting in Stockholm right now, as our Taktikon is based out of Stockholm. I'm going to try to keep my pace so you don't get overwhelmed by 1,000 words by German experts. Okay, so we're looking at the priorities in the marketplace. I'm sorry, I'm going to have to recap a little bit here. Again, the point was that the reason why we as buyers have to prioritize is because the market has increased so much, meaning the amount of suppliers in the market that provide hospitality technology has increased by a couple of 100% in the last couple of 15, 20 years. So when we previously had 50 or 40 vendors in the market, now we have about 10,000. And that increased complexity requires us to give specific demands to the vendors of different software pieces. And here are 3 steps that will help you to do this. And this is by 3 simple questions: asking why, asking what, and asking how. And the why question compares to my little 3-year-old daughter who always cries out that she wants something. I want this, I want that. But as she's only 3 years old, you can always leverage why does she want this? And I think that's a question we have to ask ourselves when we buy hospitality software. Why do we need certain things? What are the driving factors? Why do we want to make these changes? What is the purpose we're trying to align behind that? And with the question of why do we want to do certain things comes 3 sub-questions. The one question is, I can't do what I want to do right now with my current software, meaning what I have as a setup is not doing what I want it to do. Maybe my business has changed. Maybe I have added services to my portfolio. The other question you should ask yourself is, my software won't do what I want it to do. Meaning I've bought a software package maybe 5, 10 years ago, even last year, but it just won't do what I want it to do, even though it should do it. This can be your integration of email communication, your digital communication, and so forth. It just won't do what I want it to do. Now, here's another point why you should be changing or looking at different suppliers, because if it doesn't do what you want it to do, meaning you've made amends, you made changes to the programming, you made changes to the actual application and the functionalities of your PMS, it still doesn't work. So what do you do from there? Well, you got to ask yourself, what do I want to achieve? What are the alternatives out there in the market? So as we go to the next step of why and what is, you need to assess the providers against your own needs. Are you looking for a digital communication tool for your customers? Or are you looking for an actual full-scale CRM solution? So what problem am I trying to solve? And you need this kind of soul searching and reassessment in order to trigger your attention to the right providers in the market, because there's so many out there. So are your problems operational? Are they logistical? Are they technical? Is it something with the workflows that's not working? Or is it something with the communication? Or is it just that you can't get a link to a certain vendor, supplier, or business solution that you have? Which solutions are there in the market? Is there a company out there, or are there certainly is a company out there, but are these companies responding to your problem? And how much of your problems do these suppliers address? So there's another form of soul searching where you need to look at every single vendor capability out there to address the issues you have. And then last but not least, you need to look at whether their solution overlaps with what you have. You have a process for your email marketing, you have a process for your rate management, you have a process for different functionality at your hotel. Do these overlap with what the new solution might incur? Meaning if you add on a new stack or a new component to your stack. How to do this is a relatively simple 3-step process, is assessing basically how the actual vendor will click into your current environment. And there are some delimitations where you need to go back to what you discussed earlier in what are we looking at is, will this solve an operational issue? Will this help my staff to work more efficiently? Or will it address a different issue, which might be that the technicalities, the connectivity, or the workflows in the technology in my hotel will work better? So how will it address my actual issue and my problem? And last but not least, the important part is, will this integrate with my current work processes, which can both be your technical processes and your operational processes, meaning you have staff on hand, you have resources that you can use, but will the new solution, will it disrupt or assist my current work process? This is very obvious when you're looking at, for example, email marketing or any kind of marketing tool integrated to a PMS, whether it will disrupt your current functionality. At the end of the day, you need to ask yourself 4 very, very important questions when you're looking at technology. Jos, Stephan, and Steve have made it very clear. APIs are important and they're great, but are the integrations we're looking at, are they verified and functional? You need to get references from other people, seeing whether this works for their benefit. Listen to the marketplace, look at your friends and buddies and competitors in the market that are using similar solutions. Does it work for them, and how does it work for them? How have they set it up? Can you use functionalities within certain service modules and switch them on or off? Can your system at the core operate independently from those functionalities? You have added on an upsell functionality, an O-key or a trip to your system. Can your system still work without having this thing in play? And last but not least, which I think is very important nowadays when we're adding different points of sale functionalities in our distribution, is where is the fulfillment logic? Meaning, will your current PMS or will your new PMS allow the fulfillment logic where money comes in and out and payment happens reside in the same space as it was before, or is it somewhere else? Well, these are things that we believe and we've seen sometimes overlooked, and these are just a handout and a little tip to you guys out there in the market that are 4 important questions you should ask any vendor when you're looking at your integrations. And that's what I had from Stockholm. Thank you very much for joining.
Thank you so much, Oliver. To give you like an internal joke, I've never heard you speak so slowly. Let's go over to Annika. Annika, curious about your presentation as well.
Yes, hi everybody, and thank you, Oliver. I actually also have these 3 questions: what, how, and why. But I'm having a bit different approach, so so stay tuned. But yes, no, not before. Yes, okay, let's get started. Thank you. So welcome from snowy Estonia. My name is Annika and I am the co-founder of Guestjoy. Our company is focusing on the digital guest journey. The company was founded in 2014 with aim of helping hoteliers to improve their upsell performance. We have more than 400 customers across Europe, and we rank as one of the best tech companies according to Hotel Tech Report. Well, today we do much more. Besides upsell, we have the feedback module and online check-in that is increasing in its popularity. And all guest activities can be monitored from one dashboard where we accumulate all data. But today I'm going to talk about the brand and how it affects the guest experience. Starbucks, it sells coffee, right? It stands for daily inspiration. Apple sells phones, thinking differently. Disney sells family entertainment. It stands for family values and making dreams come true. Hotel brand stands for letting people know what they can expect from your property. Why should we care about the brand? Because it lives in consumers' minds. It creates trust and emotional attachment. If there are 10 hotels in your city, what convinces customers to choose you? The hospitality industry is ultra competitive. You've got to set your hotel apart from the competition. Selling a no-name item takes time and patience. Your hotel is so much more than a place to sleep, and accommodation is an integral component of the travel experience, one that can make or destroy the entire trip, which is why your hotel must start sharing its unique experiences from the very beginning, way before the guest chooses your hotel and checks in. It is no wonder that over the last 6 years, the OTAs have increased their market share by over 40% at the expense of the hotel direct channel. OTAs have monopolized the guest relationships and left hoteliers in the dust. This is particularly true for independent hotels and resorts, smaller and mid-sized hotel brands. According to Simon Sinek, there are 3 questions you should ask yourself: defining a brand. What, how, why? Every single person on the planet knows what they do. These are products or services we sell. Fewer people already know how they do it. These things make them special, are set apart from the competition. And unfortunately, very rarely people in the organization know why they do it. It is a purpose, cause, or a belief. Money is only a result. Communication is always inside out. Once you have an answer to all these questions, then you will know who is your customer and better understand their expectations. Most of the people who will spread your brand are your guests, easy as that. If your branding strategy resonates with them, they will become your lifelong fans and recommend you to everyone. This can lead to a lot of bookings. As discovered by Google Small Businesses, 82% of word of mouth happens face to face. So you need to create a story to tell. What is your hotel story? It's a question we find most interesting and one we most often want answering. It is important to be consistent and authentic. Customers aren't stupid. They will quickly realize when you're trying to fool them. How to get the story out there? The good news is that there are various digital solutions you can use in order to promote your business these days. All of these methods are affordable, yet can be extremely effective in terms of marketing your business and gaining more exposure. For instance, today, less than 25% of all hotels have a guest-facing solution or a loyalty program in place. Here are some examples of some of our customers are creating a brand awareness. They tear themselves apart from the OTA and create their own communication with their guests. It can be a pre-stay email with hyper-personalized offer, or even a check-in card with a beautiful design. They pay attention to their guests. The dessert in the a la carte menu becomes a birthday surprise, or a couple who has booked a double room on OTA can get a room upgrade for a little extra. Technology helps anticipate the guest needs and send the right offer to each guest at the right time. This will help to make the guest stay perfect. Some elements become crucial when we want to build a brand for a modern traveler. For them, it is to stay digital. We can look at the client's expectation and behavior from the following chart. Guest actions over the past 6 months have changed a lot. More online check-ins, upsell is still there, stay steady, and feedback will grow once there are anybody to ask feedback. It really helps to understand what are the expectations. Like the founder of Amazon, Jeff Bezos, is saying it even better. Your brand is what other people say about you when you are not in the room. Think about it and work your way out how you want your brand to be perceived. I think it's a good thought. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for that, Annika. Very interesting. Now let's go over to our special guest. I invited Nina Kalian from Elite Hotels, and we have invited her because Elite has gone through an extensive RFP process, and we wanted to know more about how they did this. Nina, you've been presenting yourself already a little bit from the start, so maybe let's just go directly to the first question. So you have then recently gone through this whole process. What was your goal to improve? What were the main objectives of this project? Could you tell a little bit more about that?
Yes, well, Elite Hotels made the last major choice of hotel systems back in 2009. That's over 10 years ago. So the possibilities and limitations were very different than they are now. Fully open RESTful API interfaces via public internet was not the norm. Lightweight HTML by browser-based solutions with full functionality did not exist. So we wanted to expose our current solution. We have the Opera full suite, not cloud, for competition. And we were not only looking at the particular models of the suite, but rather a full ecosystem of hotel applications, such as PMS, sales and catering, CRS, RMS, IB, RMS, BE. So we decided to write an RFP asking for functions instead of systems. And therefore, our RFP and list of requirements got rather extensive. It's like 120 pages. So, yeah, but one of our main objectives was to look at systems that could help us stay GDPR compliant, PCI compliant, and can communicate with modern IPA solutions.
Okay, cool. But then 120 pages, that sounds quite a lot. Even we haven't really done that yet, I think. But then who was part of the project team? Could you tell me, and how many hours did that take?
Yeah, oh my God, so many hours. But yeah, we had a steering group at the top. So that's our CEO and CFO and sales and marketing director. And then we had our project group, of course. I think we were 8 persons when we started, like one qualified person from each department, like sales and catering expert, IT and interfaces, key cards, credit cards, loyalty, yeah, everything. Revenue, of course. Then every person had its own in-house resource group at the hotel personnel that work with our solutions we have currently, so they could just discuss and ask and everything we need to know to write this RFP in the right way. And at one point, we also brought in an external resource to do a risk assessment before we went too far. So just to save up a little. Then we sent the RFP out in the end of May. That was, the project officially started in January 29, 2019. In the end of May, we had completed the RFP. So we sent it out, and we sent it out with a deadline for answering at July 12 at the latest. So pretty tough for the answering parts, but and in the middle of the summer, we had to do that. And then when we got the answers, we evaluated all the answers. We met with providers in real life, in webinars. We asked about their answers in the RFP. And then we shortened our original list of candidates. After that, the project was supposed to close in December 19, but this is the hotel business, so we weren't ready with everything. It was a little delayed. So in March 2020, then we were ready to sign with our finalists, and then the pandemic struck, of course.
Yeah, March 2020 is marked in all our agendas, right? So actually, okay, it's gone a few months since now. So what happened then in the past months? Did you change anything to your final plans?
Well, yes and no. When the pandemic struck, there was, of course, a total stop to all the projects. We weren't allowed to sign anything, which is understandable. And yeah, it all came to a stop there. And we lost a lot of co-workers due to the pandemic, of course. Most of us are still on furlough at some percentage. Our project group had to change some of its original members. But in the end, I think it has worked out anyway. But this last year, we decided we had very decimated numbers and hours. So we stayed in contact with our finalists. We discussed with them all the time what has happened in their systems, what are they doing, what are the roadmaps, and of course we also generally stayed updated with the market. The project was still paused on hold, so we didn't do anything more than that. And during this year, our steering board also asked us to present different scenarios for the project because, of course, this was a done deal before the pandemic, but yeah, it changes things a little in the economics and thinking. So yeah, they want the different scenarios which we gave them, like can we switch just one of the systems? What's the economics of everything now? And what if we don't make any changes at all? What will happen? So we have analyzed that. We have discussed it and presented what we think. And in our project group, we actually firmly still believe that we did the right choices then, and that they still are up to date. So our recommendations are the same, to move from our current solution to the ones we have now chosen but not signed. But it's a big scare for many, of course, not least for the people that works in the organization, because we have a lot of personnel that has been with us for a very long time, only worked with our systems. And from the beginning of the project, we identified 3 main risks with the project, where one of them actually is being a resistance to change, because that's not unusual, of course. No. But we are pretty sure that we can overcome that with education and information to the staff all over, of course, and every position. And we are also pretty sure that it will be much better in the long run. We have not signed anything yet, but if our steering board gives up the thumbs up, very soon we will, and we are all very ready to start this project with the implementation and close this project we are still in. So let's see if we make it there. we all are really excited to do this.
Yeah, I can understand that. This is really interesting. Thank you so much. It's also nice to see that all this extensive work actually also results into, well, you sticking to the plan. Interesting to hear. Thank you so much. Well, let's see what our experts have to say about the subject as well. I think, you know, what when you started talking, Nina, I realized actually why we started to do our system audits, and that's actually Oliver that takes care of it, is because usually hotels, what they have like two options into choosing into choosing a new system. The first of them is like, okay, I've been listening to a nice salesperson, and I think then that makes me buy the system, or another hotel that I look up to, they have this system already, so let's buy it. And then we think that maybe it's much better to do a full RFP process such as yours. Or Oliver, is this about the way that you do your projects?
Well, it's similar. I do understand the challenges that Nina is going through. We see this with some of our clients as well, that there are unforeseen circumstances that will maybe pause or even halt a purchase process. I think that the approach of assessing your needs versus what's in the marketplace is a wise choice. Now, elite hotels and Nina are in a somewhat luxurious position that they have both the staff resource and the time to dig as deeply as you did, Nina. And I think you've done amazing work there, and a very interesting project you have there for quite some time. If you look at the smaller scale operations, single hotels, small chains, 1 to 10 hotel properties, don't always put the same resource in and wind up in a situation as you mentioned, Anne-Marie, that they go by reference, meaning my friend or my competitor has this solution. That's why I think it's going to suit me. And we've seen it sometimes going, as we say this in Swedish, straight into the walls, because what your competitor does and what's set up for operation your friend has might not be the same setup that you have, and that's where things get iffy. I do believe that the approach of assessing your own needs and measuring them against the market, whether it's an elaborate RFP process with 120 pages, or if it's just going by the 3 questions that Annika mentioned in her speech, why, how, what, or why, what, how, will help you in discriminating certain suppliers and looking at the right section of the market that will help you. So I do think that the approach is very similar, and this is what we use as well. With that being said, I think the challenge is that the vendor market, the online market for hospitality technology makes it look so easy. Click and drag and click and buy, but it's not. That's what I'm trying to say. That's why you should call your friendly neighborhood consultant.
No.
And
yeah, I agree. But then, I think it's also tough for hotels. I mean, the thing that we've been hearing quite a lot, and I'm curious to hear what your other panelists are saying about that. But the thing that we hear so much is that the world has been changing so fast. It's difficult to adapt to it. They find it difficult to find the right technology to it. And I realize actually when I listen to this webinar or listen to you speak, I think that most of the listeners are still thinking like, I don't really know what to do right now. Do you have any low-hanging fruits, anything? It's like, okay, what would be a good first step into choosing the right technology? Maybe Jos or Steve would like to answer to that.
Yeah, I can. Go ahead, Steve.
No, it's all right, Jos, go ahead.
Yeah,
I was going to say, I think a lot of it is actually just starting with something, and that's probably the hardest part. Once you get going, it becomes easier to add specific new features or technologies to your stack. But I also want to add that right now it might be hard to change. On the other hand, I think it's also a good time to change if you can come to a good arrangement with your supplier about, how do we pay for this? How do we make this work? We're all cash short a little bit. But now you have time, because you have little or no guests at this point in time. You have less staff, so you have to train less staff to get used to this new technology to begin with. And then when business returns, you can grow with that, at the same flow basically. So I think beginning with something that if you have a I think the most important thing is that you make a switch to the cloud if you haven't done so. And that's very affordable to do so because they only charge per month. There is no, army of people that have to come to your hotel anymore. There is no weeks of installation, and there is no upfront huge cost. So you can do this fairly fast. And once you're on that platform, given the technology outreach for the next 10, 20 years, you will get automated updates to new technology changes, features, trends, whatever. So I think if you can make that start and figure out a way to start now, and if you have a large group of hotels, at least try it in a few hotels, you get that thing moving. Because this is, we're now, everybody, the vaccines are being distributed now. So we all are hopeful that in Q2, Q3, business begins to return to normal. And if you are ready with something new, I think you're in a much better position than your competitor hotels.
Thank you. Steve, do you have a small comment to add on it?
Yeah, perhaps one particular element of consideration that I think would benefit hoteliers all around is if they were to think back to when they were busy. I'm equally sorry that is a little while ago, but for many, and they think about the normal daily ongoings in let's say the front office, the back office. And realize what processes, what parts of the job involving all members of staff, the entire wider team, cause the most friction. A small example would be perhaps somebody spending 40 minutes a day keying in credit card numbers in order to perform pre-authorizations on transactions. Is that really truly necessary in 2021? Things like that. So I think it's valuable to look at the processes in place. I think it's important to reconsider whether things that perhaps have been normal for 10 or 15 years really ought to still be normal in this day and age, and to match that off against what the various vendors and eco sets can do for your business. Perhaps that's a worthy point.
Thank you, Stephan. I think maybe do you have anything to add on the subject as well? I saw that you wanted to start to speak. Sorry for interrupting you.
No worries. Yes, I actually do have. So looking back in my revenue management time, so the approach for me, and looking now what I've learned working in hospitality tech, kind of seeing the wide range of what technology actually exists there. I would have wished to know that kind of it makes sense, for example, to also actively make a wish list to your providers. So I see it more often talking to the customers, talking to the hoteliers, saying, hey, I didn't know that this is possible in our times. And hey, say, look, it's probably not my topic. So I'm a rate market intelligence tool. But when we come to PMS, by the way, there is still existing solutions. You just need to be aware of it. So a lot of hoteliers are still not really willing to ask the sales people or the development people behind it if there is possibility. So feel free to make a wish list, definitely what you want to have for your business, but very, very much important, frame it. So whatever you want to do, it needs to be framed. So don't wish for the next 2 years. You want to do it now, and you give your supplier, give them a time frame when you want to have everything done, and you see how speedy they can be. And this is definitely something which pushes your development way further, because then you see also how fast you can move with what technology you have. So especially when it comes to the API connections, how fast you can connect and disconnect. So gives you flexibility at the end of the day. So that's definitely, flexibility is here the key. So choosing it for your property, definitely one of the main key features.
Thank you. Yeah, actually, I'm also thinking the main accusation almost I get from organizing seminars and webinars since 2008 is actually people say that you always invite technology people, and they always want us to buy stuff, but we don't have the money. And then I think, well, okay, but it is an investment. You don't have to buy everything. You should buy what is valuable for you. But another thing that a lot of people say when they talk about technology, and maybe Annika, I can pose this question to you, because as soon as I think a lot of the speakers were into this as well. It's like, okay, you have technology, and then you can just like optimize. So people can just like check in by themselves. They can just like go up to the room. So they actually it optimizes the whole procedure. And then what you what you get from hotels a lot of times is, no, I actually do want to check in because we want to have this face-to-face contact. You are very much into just this guest interaction. Do you have any wise words to say about that?
Yes, yes, thank you. Well, I think it really depends also of the market and how ready the specific market is. So what I would say is that there are now so many different ways of doing an online check-in, for instance, and I know that there are a lot of providers out there. But one of our customers said it really well, is that technology can actually support also your daily activities. It doesn't mean that the guest doesn't have to go to the reception anymore. I mean, technology can just maybe take some part of the work away from you, like filling in the registration cards, for instance. I mean, you don't need to go all the way downloading an app, for instance, and getting to a room. It's like I see sometimes like that hoteliers also, they see it black and white. Okay, if I'm about to switch, then that means I need to change my door locks, I need to do everything. But it doesn't have to be this way. There are like way cheaper solutions. So I think they're a little bit afraid as well. That's no, I will wait now for a few years once I have the finances to make those changes. But there are like way more simple solutions as well out there that can just in a way digitalize the check-in cards, and that's it, and still keep the really beautiful communication flow with the guest and with the reservation clerk. So but yeah, it all requires studying, and yeah, I think you just need to find the time to kind of to go through the processes, like Nina was saying. Just you need to map up all the processes. I really love the presentation and how, I mean, one group decided to go through all this work.
I agree. Thank you so much. Well, I think we've come at the end of our webinar. Thank you so much for joining. We hope that you enjoyed this past hour, and the next webinar will be held as usual on the first Thursday of the month, which is March 3rd. The topic of the next webinar is about artificial intelligence, and we have invited speakers from Libra, Avio, QuickText, and the Hotel Resbot to give us their view on the subject. Our special guests will be Heiko Rieder from Penta Hotels Worldwide. This webinar has been recorded and we'll send you the link after this webinar. If you have any questions, or if you would like to put any of the like to be in touch with any of the panelists, please feel free to email them directly. Thank you so much to the speakers. Also, let me add a little a teaser for the 18th of May. This is a very exciting, very first time that we're going to do this, a whole day event organized simultaneously in London, Milan, Stockholm, and online. We're going to stream a few parts from each other. We expect about 2,000 people to join us online, and the price will only be €50 per person, and it's going to be a day to remember. If you would like to contact our speakers directly, please feel free. And I think at the end of this webinar, maybe we can close off with some wise words from our speakers. Steve, do you have any wise last comments?
Thank you, Anne-Marie. So yes, one thing I just very briefly would like to indeed say is in answer to what you just said regarding people considering additional investment, etc. Don't just think about the price tag, but please, whenever you consider technological changes, consider all the advances you can make, and they themselves can bring huge differences to the bottom line of your business. So what you're doing is investigating how to best speculate on the future of your business. That's what I would like to briefly add.
Thank you. Jos?
I think my last words are very simple. I think the world's changing, and I would strongly recommend that everybody tries to change with it and not, stay behind too much longer. That's it for me.
Stephan?
Yes, definitely try different tastes of Coke. There's more than Pepsi and Coke. That's the most important part for me. And there's so many different kind of tech solutions. Have a wide look and look through the shelf. Don't look always on the label, there is a lot more ingredients than the other ones, which probably taste better.
Thank you. Oliver?
Just pairing up with what Annika said, make your technology investment part of your annual budgets. Don't wait for 10 years to restack. Have it as an ongoing expenditure in your budgets, and then upgrade certain parts bit by bit instead of waiting for the one big solution.
Thank you. Annika?
Very simple. Follow your heart and think why you are in this business and how you want people to perceive your brand. Thank you.
Thank you. I think actually what we see a lot is that hotels have a lot of technology and sometimes they don't really use everything they have. Look at what you have and look at what you can actually maybe remove. Further on, we are still maybe at the end of a pandemic. I hope that the vaccinations will be going to continue quite fast, and I hope for a very, very, very positive coming months. Soldier on, everybody there. I mean, you've made it so far. If you dare now, nothing can kill you in the end. Nina, the last words for you.
Well, I think shouldn't be afraid to start a big project and just see how much time and resources it will take. It's also very fun. Change is fun. Go for it.
Okay, thank you so much to all the speakers. Thank you so much to all the people that have been listening. I hope you will be joining us next month, 4th of March. Thank you. Bye.